By the way, like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the algorithm.
All right. People who really want to have a good time won't come to a slaughterhouse. And we've got entirely too many troublemakers here. Too many 40-year-old adolescents, felons, power drinkers, and trustees of modern chemistry. It's going to change. Be nice.
That ain't working.
I want you to be nice.
That ain't working.
And you'll both be nice.
So much as my wife was a giant. But
I want you to be nice until it's time to not be nice.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the way you do it.
The Rees Company.
Back up into Tempe, Genesee. Watch the pictures as they travel through your neighbor's Wi-Fi. It's the Rees Company. I'm Steve Rees, the bull of American broadcasting, alongside the great Chris Morganti. And tonight, we'll meet my new favorite news anchor. We also have an automotive mishap from Down Under, and our movie of the week, Reflections of Murder from 1974. But first, shall we talk about Heather Kovar, Chris?
Please.
Now, a little background. She's an anchor in New York's capital region. She's on CBS 6 in Albany. And last Saturday, she gave an odd performance, shall we say?
Yeah.
On the news at 6. We have something. We have a clip of this. Let's take a look.
Representatives is expected to take up a pair of abortion rights bills next week, but neither is likely to go anything in the Senate. More than 50 million people across the country's southeast are under warnings for excessive heat. And boy, don't you know that? 105 degrees in Texas today. I just spoke with my mother. That's what she's dealing with. It's a major heat wave, and it's just hitting everywhere. We're so lucky. It's only 80 degrees here. We are really lucky here in the capital region. I mean, let me tell you about that. These areas are reaching such areas. I mean, it's Houston, Austin, San Antonio. I mean, they're not expected. It has happened. Like, you don't need us telling you that it's bad. It's like people are being told to like stay inside, drink a lot of water, and we are just lucky. This weekend right here is so amazing. Meteorologist Craig Adams is right here with your, Craig Adams. Why did I say that? Of course, clearly, like here, we're taking a live look over downtown Albany, and of course, just like me, meteorologist Craig Gold is working a double shift, and so he's in, and we've been tracking this, and you know, we've been talking about just like what it's been like across the country and the different reasons that why it's so hot in other areas, and we're having really nice weather here. So let's get over to Craig Gold. Hey, yep. Craig.
I like the gal.
Yeah.
She seems like fun.
All right, good evening, Heather. And yeah, the weather has...
She reminds me of...
Nancy Nave?
No, just many girls that I've ended up sitting next to at a bar. Who's just talking over there? And it's like, why is it so hot in here? Can you drive me home? So yeah, I'm familiar with. Yeah, she was drunk.
You think
very, very obvious.
That's what people are saying.
That she was
You're
drunk.
in that camp?
And there were reports that that's not an unusual thing. She shows up drunk to work often.
Oh, well, see, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Now, see, Heather blames exhaustion, marathon work days, and stress related to the recent death of her father.
Right.
As causing this, odd public spectacle she unleashed. I don't know. I'm willing to give her the benefit of the doubt, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, boy.
After a few beers, I'm much more likely to be able to handle sitting in front of a prompter and delivering news effectively, much more so than if you just drag me out of bed. So exhaustion is a good excuse for this sort of delivery.
It's a good excuse, but it's bullshit.
You don't agree?
And she got fired.
Yeah.
So.
Well, at first they announced she was suspended.
Right. Well, that's how it works. We all know that.
And then she announced that she had decided not to renew her contract, which is coming up at the end of the month.
Well, yeah, it's getting away of her drinking time. This whole having a job thing ain't for me.
And we'll never know whose decision that was. I think we know whose decision that was.
Right.
But as I say, I give her the benefit of the doubt, but I could be wrong, Chris. You may be right. And I think the evidence may be in this, strangely, stand-up comedy set she did years ago. This is from, as part of New York's Funniest Reporter contest. Let's see some of this. Heather Kovar.
I'm a morning anchor. So I have to be at work at 4 a.m. every morning. But I get off early so I can be home and like at the bar by 11 a.m.
Yeah. I bet. I bet you are. Yeah.
Well, I think she's fantastic, and I wish her all the best.
Well, here's the thing, Steve. And I'm not trying to just take a contrarian point of view here. I'm being very serious about this. I just don't understand why they fired her. I mean, do they not want ratings? Do they not want people to watch the show? She's the most interesting news person in the country.
Yeah, since 2015.
Yeah, the gay fucking shit guy.
No, you're thinking of AJ Clemente from Bismarck.
Yeah. But yeah, I seriously don't understand why they wouldn't keep her on the air.
And they didn't yank her off during the program. I'm sure they could have put the somebody in her place.
Yeah, that's rough though. But
I mean, if they were that concerned about this being a bad, I guess, PR
I don't know. Like maybe I don't understand who still watches local news. So maybe the people who do are just uptight teetotalers who would have some objection to this. I can't fathom it. And I don't know who is still watching a 30-minute program to get the weather,
right?
Rather than taking 30 seconds to look on your phone. They've got to be like weird, old-fashioned type of people.
People in waiting rooms.
And don't. Well, that's true, but I mean, come on. And don't. It can't be people who care about what's going on in their community, because those people, if they were out there, newspapers would still be in existence. So I mean, I just don't get how that was real journalism, and that no longer exists. Somehow this dog and pony local news stuff still goes on. You have someone who's doing something fun. I mean, really, she didn't do anything illegal. She didn't curse like that other guy we just brought up,
right?
Which will get you in trouble. Also, he was a terrible broadcaster. I mean, he was god awful.
Okay, see, now I think we should watch this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, because you've said so much about it.
Yeah, I guess we kind of have to, because people haven't seen it.
Yeah. Can we trouble you, Jim, for AJ Clemente? This guy was making his, this is his first job out of college.
Yeah.
His debut.
His first time ever on the air.
He became an anchor out of Bismarck. And it's
Bismarck, North Dakota?
North Dakota, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
This one?
AJ Clemente making his TV debut. First job out of college.
Yeah. First time ever on the air.
First time on camera. On live television. And this is this is the intro. This isn't coming back from a break.
Right.
This is the very first thing he says. Well, let's just hear it.
Dreams in Motion organization has a fun time for the disabled. A deadly avalanche kills 5 in Colorado.
You're watching the Evening Sunday on NBC North Dakota News, your news leader in high definition.
Gay fucking shit.
Good evening, I'm Van Q. You may have seen our news report, AJ on NBC North Dakota News, and he'll be joining the weekend news team as my co-anchor.
Let's hear him introduce himself
a little
to the
bit about
people of
yourself,
North Dakota.
Thanks, Van. I'm very excited. I graduated from West Virginia University, and I'm used to, from being from the East Coast.
Okay, well, welcome aboard, AJ.
Thanks.
Go for it.
A fatal ATV crash happened yesterday in Williams County. Officials say Kevin George rode with his ATV.
News leader in high definition.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, and I believe he lost his job immediately.
Yeah.
He was a guest bartender at some bar in Brooklyn not long after this. I mean, that was where things went.
Yeah, it's hard to get another job in broadcasting when you're the gay fucking shit guy. But he's from the East Coast.
He's used to being from the East Coast.
By the way, who called calls West Virginia the East Coast? That's not even...
There's not an ocean to be seen.
No. The coast.
I think he might have been, he studied in West Virginia. I think he's from New York.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, it's definitely an odd choice. Well, every choice of words he made was very odd, so... AJ Clemente. Well, there's also a news story from...
I mean, Steve, the thing is, yeah, that was awful, but he could have come out and been Walter Cronkite. He's still not getting over the first few seconds, you know? All right, I think we've covered AJ Clemente enough. But we did say Heather Kovar, is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah, we both wish her the best and hope she lands on her feet because...
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we need a news gal.
And
I think we need a female perspective on the show.
Yeah, I mean, if she wants to call in and give her side of things, that'd be great. And Steve and I aren't going to shame someone for having a couple of shooters. That's not our style. Especially when I don't think it interfered with her doing her job. Her job is not to deliver the news, as I was saying earlier. Her job is to get ratings.
Yes.
And I see no evidence that she didn't do that, so I don't get it.
Okay, well, I'm Team Chris in that respect. Do you want to talk about what happened in Australia? I don't know when this was.
I do. This was recently? In March or April. I believe it was April.
Okay.
So we're a couple months behind. I just saw this the other day, and I love this. So let's take a look.
All right. First, then you see it.
Wow. Now, can we pause it here?
Inside the fast-sinking car.
This is my favorite part. You see how sunny it is, right? You can see on the fence that's sun, right?
Yeah.
And yet you'll notice the windshield wipers are on. You can see him once you start the video rolling again. So clearly she decided, oh, I'm in a pool. Time to turn the wipers on. I mean, it wasn't like she had them on because it was raining. It's sunny out. She turned the wipers on when she found herself in a pool. So we can watch a little bit more. They attempt to rescue her.
A distressed young woman,
see the wipers?
Allegedly over the limit. On Rushbrook Way in Thornley, neighbours run from everywhere.
Get out of the car. Let's go. Get out. You all right? You can't.
Ed and Adam jump straight in, but an elbow is no match for the window, and the water pressure too great to open doors.
No, little one, please. Get away from the window. Please. Get away from the window.
It takes multiple attempts with a brick, but just as the driver comes within inches of going under, success.
All right, Jim, can we pause it there? Now, there's a little bit more to this. They eventually, you'll see the rescue. But you might be asking yourself, what kind of person, what type of driver would be so poorly skilled as to drive into a pool? Well, we'll find out in a little bit.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay. Why a soccer referee showed up?
Apparently he's a tow truck driver. I guess you're talking about the guy outside the pool. The guy in the pool is actually a tow truck driver, which he must be seeing Australian dollar signs in his eyes.
Hey, don't you worry about it.
Ed pulls her to safety with seconds to spare.
She already had the water.
It was getting pretty dicey, to be honest.
His arm sliced in the process, but he doesn't mind. These humble heroes would do it all over again.
She'd be dead now.
One half of the pair brought the calming words.
She was in full panic mode. Adam was on one side talking to her, get away from the window.
The other half managed the life-saving manoeuvre.
And I just reached in and said...
Can we pause again? I wonder, man, driving into a pool, what type of person? I really want to see what type of person would make this mistake.
Okay, let's find out together, shall we?
Come to me, baby, and just grabbed her.
The dynamic duo's efforts not lost on Theory Tour.
Oh, okay. I get it. I get it. Yeah, no, it all makes sense.
I'll be dead. Thanks for the people saving my life. And, yeah. And I'm really sorry.
The drama might be over, but the damage and a repair bill remains for the homeowners.
They said that they put the...
All right, that's enough. Who cares about the homeowners?
She was charged with, as they say, drink driving.
Yeah.
Apparently under the influence.
I guess. By the way, what we didn't see, I saw it in, I guess, a different clip of the same event. But as soon as she gets out of the pool, she just walks away. Like, oh, well, that car is trash. Better go buy another one. Like, yeah, she must have been Heather Kovaring it at the bar before she got in the car.
Now, I guess the urgency was the inevitability of the car being overrun with water.
Yeah.
And her drowning inside.
Yeah.
But they would have always had, it's not like it's 40 feet of lake.
Yeah.
It's a swimming pool. They would have always had access to get the door open somehow. There was more time than they let on here.
I feel like they could have got, I mean, the water pressure, can you really not open a car door? Like, I don't know. They got her out, so who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like they could have been able to get the car door open a little bit easier than smashing a window, but I don't know.
Well, they did a great service.
Yeah.
Speaking of service, you had a customer service issue lately, haven't you?
Well, we have our movie of the week, Reflections of Murder.
Yeah.
So I sat down to watch it yesterday, and my internet is out. So I unplug my modem, plug it back in, the internet comes back on. I watched the first few minutes of Reflections of Murder, the internet goes out again. Now, here's the thing. I noticed the day before that a Comcast guy, because my internet is through Comcast, had driven up to my house. I was outside having a smoke. So I watched this guy come out, take an extension ladder, climb a pole, and start fiddling with stuff. So I'm putting two and two together, and I'm thinking, oh, they did some kind of service, and now they screwed up my internet. So I call Comcast, and after 30 minutes of talking to a robot, I talked to someone via chat. And he told me his name was Rupham. So I figured, oh, this is a guy in an Indian call center. So
okay.
I believe I'm talking to an actual person instead of a robot now. So I explained the problem, and I get, he's going through a checklist. I'm like, no, dude. Like, there was a guy yesterday who did something, and I'm pretty sure he did it wrong. Can you send somebody out? So eventually I got through to him. Okay, we'll send somebody out. Then afterward, I get a text saying, please check our self-guided troubleshooting guide thing. Like, okay, does your if I were to get an extension ladder and climb up the pole with a set of wrenches, would your self-troubleshooting guide tell me what to do that this guy screwed up? But anyway, my internet's fine now. And they must have sent somebody back out. But it reminded me of that time you were telling me about when you called Comcast customer service.
Right.
Yeah, and that seemed worse than what I went through.
It was a lot worse. For the folks that don't know, I believe we brought a clip.
Oh, great.
So let's take a look at this.
Thank you for calling Comcast. Go fuck yourself.
I'm sorry?
Thank you for calling Comcast. How can I help you?
Oh, yeah, my internet service is down. Excuse me?
How can I help you?
My internet service is out.
Is your power out?
No, the power is on.
Please make sure your head is not securely tightened to your asshole.
What?
Oftentimes, that's the problem, sir.
Well, it's most definitely not the problem.
Thank you for calling Comcast. Go fuck yourself.
All right, the movie of the week is Reflections of Murder. It aired on ABC on November 24th, 1974. It's directed by a guy called John Badham, who would go on to direct Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's also a remake of the classic French psychological thriller Les Diaboliques.
Yeah. Based on a novel.
Based on a novel, and the title of that novel translates to She Who Was No More. It stars Oscar winner Tuesday Weld.
Yeah.
Also Joan Hackett and Sam Waterston, who is probably best known for starring in Law & Order.
Jack McCoy.
Since probably before many of you were born.
Yeah. Probably, in my opinion, maybe the best TV lawyer of all time.
I guess he'd be in the conversation, as they say.
Yeah. You know, you got your Matlock and your Perry Mason, I guess, and a lot of others. But yeah, I've always admired him in that role. And of course, Tuesday Weld, that's her name, right?
Yeah.
She starred in one of my favorite films, Once Upon a Time in America, the Sergio Leone film. That's such a great movie. If anyone hasn't seen that, you should check it out. You know, it's an older, like early '80s movie, but it's a classic.
Well, Sam Waterston plays a guy called Michael Elliott. Now, he's the headmaster at a place called the Island School near Seattle.
Oh, do the graduates there go to Community State?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
He's somewhat unconventional, and when we first see him, he interrupts a music class. Let's take a look.
What have we done to be honored by an interruption?
David and Wyatt need to know that their bus is leaving this afternoon at 1:15.
Don't you think that you could have waited until lunch to tell them?
I could have forgotten.
Michael,
Make sure your sweatshirts are clean. Last week you looked like an ad for Brand X.
I know this class.
Yes. What? What can I do for you, my loveliest of lovelies?
I would like to have a class.
This is the result of women's lib. In Ethiopia, they keep them in corrals and sell them like cattle. Would you like to take a little trip to Ethiopia, my darling?
Wow. He's got some strong opinions.
Yeah, pretty harsh words, too, for this gal.
By the way, you explained that he's the school headmaster.
Yes.
But that's not explained when you first see this scene. So I was left wondering if he was the father of the two boys that he just said. I'm like, man, this guy, like, why would they tolerate this parent
right
talking to the teachers like that? But then that was his wife.
Yeah, that's also not explained, that the woman he addressed that way was his wife. Her name is Claire, and the couple owned the Island School.
Right.
Michael wants to put it on the market.
It's worth, he said $3 million. In the early 70s, I think that's like 30, 40 million now.
That's crazy.
It's worth a lot of money, and he wants to sell it to developers to build houses.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's her family property, so she doesn't want to do that.
Correct. Now, that night, Michael gives his wife, Claire, a summary of his own psyche.
I hate the smell of those things.
I hate this school. I hate this mildewed part of the world. I hate islands. I hate water. I hate children. I hate pianos. And I hate you.
And I hate Fudge, and I hate Raymond, and I don't like Sarah Lee. Yeah, we get it. You're a grump.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this guy probably doesn't have any guy friends. Because if he did, they'd be like, dude, do you realize how great your life is? Like, his job at the school, we called him the headmaster, but I don't even know if he was. I think he just bossed everyone around. What they mention as his job is to teach gym class. So that's his only responsibility. He has a mistress, the beautiful Tuesday Weld, who teaches at the school and lives right across the hall. Like, what's this guy got to complain about so much?
Well, there's a student at this school called Chip.
Yeah.
And he's played by Lance Kerwin, who our regular viewers might remember from The Loneliest Runner.
Oh.
In that film, he played a whiz kid, by which I mean he played a kid who whizzed all over Southern California, but not in any of its toilets.
No.
So let's take a look at this curiously shot scene where Chip shows concern for Claire.
Chip? Hello. Why aren't you out on the field?
For the same reason you aren't. I hate Mr. Elliott.
I don't hate Mr. Elliott.
Well, you should.
There are things that you will understand. I hope not.
Pause. Can we just pause this? Yeah. Do you think Lance Kerwin was typecast in The Loneliest Runner?
How so?
Well, look at this. Notice how he's mostly shot from the waist up here? And that book seems to be strategically placed. It takes up way too much space and hides any potential mishap that Lance might have while shooting this scene.
You know, I did kind of notice when he walked in, he was halfway behind the curtain.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
We see almost as much book as we see Claire.
Yeah.
You know why? She's wearing wading boots.
Yeah.
All right, so let's drop in on a mealtime exchange between Michael and Claire in a scene that I call My Date with Taylor Swift.
Why aren't you eating, Claire?
I don't care for the dinner, Michael.
You haven't tried it. It's delicious. We're here to set an example.
Then perhaps we should mind our own business.
We should eat our dinners.
I'm not hungry. Use your napkin, darling.
Eat.
No.
You can see why Mrs. Elliot is pale and fragile and unhealthy. She doesn't eat. You can see why she has a bad heart. She doesn't eat. You can see why her hands tremble. She bursts into tears at the slightest provocation. She doesn't eat. What shall we do with Mrs. Elliot?
Make her eat.
Make her eat. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, what was on her plate? It looked like maybe a fish head to me. I couldn't make it out.
Yeah, it was a fish head.
Oh, okay.
With the eye staring up at her.
Yeah. I mean, what is that sadism? I don't know what that is.
I don't know what you would call that.
Yeah.
Definitely some sort of psychological game.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned that Michael has a girlfriend.
Yes.
Played by Tuesday Weld. We're about to meet her. Her name is Vicky. And she's also a teacher at the school, as you said. And Michael is as cruel to Vicky as he is to Claire.
It seems so, yeah.
Yeah. And the two frequently commiserate over Michael's antics, shall we say. So they're shown twice discussing a possible solution to escaping Michael's hold over them. Let's see one such scene.
What do you put up with him for? Are you a masochist or something? Every day he gets worse and worse. And you just sit there and take it. What can I do? You know. I can't. You've tried everything else. No. Claire, it'll be so easy. I've got everything worked out.
Yeah, now what they're talking about here, Chris, is a plot they have that they've discussed to murder Michael.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens the next morning.
Can we pause it? If your plan revolved on sneaking out of the house without waking him up, why would you just toss that basket down the steps? What am I missing here?
I don't know. I guess it was easier.
Okay. All right, let's keep going.
Come on. Grab the other end. Okay, up.
Yeah, so these two are going away for the night.
Yeah.
To, I guess, create an alibi and then lure Michael into their trap.
They live on an island. They're going to Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what kind of place do they end up in? Is it a school? Is it a boarding house? I couldn't really figure that one out.
I believe it's kind of like an inn type of deal.
Like a bed and breakfast sort of.
Yeah, like a bed and breakfast type of place. That's what I was able to get out of it.
Because I heard the landlady referring to one of the students causing mischief with her collection of garden gnomes.
Okay.
So that's what led me to think this was some sort of institute or whatever that they were.
The Knot Island School. That's where.
Yeah. The mainland school.
Yeah.
Okay. So this trip involves meeting up with Michael under the guise of him signing divorce papers.
Right.
Then poisoning Michael's whiskey.
Yeah. But not to kill him, just to knock him out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's plan one.
Right.
Well, let's see what they do once he loses consciousness. This is phase 2 of the plan.
Did you lock the door? What? No, was I supposed to? Vicky! Put it on his chest, quick! I'm quick! I'll be there in just a minute.
Yeah. So then they stuff him into that giant basket.
Yeah.
And they head back to the school.
Yeah.
You want to see part of that journey?
So this plan is pretty weird. Their plan was to establish an alibi by staying at that inn.
Yes.
And then to take his body back to the island and make it seem like he drowned while they were away. That's the gist of it. So
yeah.
So now they have to get the body in the basket back to the island and stage it like he drowned there while they were away.
Yeah. So here's their journey back to the island.
Why'd we have to wait until the last minute? Now we're getting into rush hour traffic. We're going to miss the damn ferry. The whole thing is going to backfire. We had the whole day.
Yes, I can see us driving around Seattle all day long with a dead body in the back of the car. Well, we're right on schedule anyway.
Cut. Lance Kerwin, you're not even in this scene.
Oh, boy.
Please leave the set.
Yeah, he must have climbed in there to take a nap.
Do we have more of this clip? No, that was it. All right. So under cover of the night, yeah, they dump Michael's body into the swimming pool on the school grounds. They want him to be found there and be assumed the victim of an accidental drowning.
Right.
But days go by, and he never rises to the surface. The body remains undiscovered. Let's see something that happens in the meantime.
That is a sorry excuse for a basketball team, Steve.
Pretty bad, huh?
I think they need to recruit some students from Central Seattle. Hey, know what I mean? Hey, yeah, nudge, eh?
Yeah. Now the pool, you just saw the pool. It's murky from autumnal neglect. The surface is thick with leaves. So Vicky and Claire have a student dive in to retrieve a set of keys that Vicky threw in on purpose.
Hoping that he would go in there and discover the dead body. That's pretty gross, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty twisted. But then again, they'd murdered someone. So.
Right. So let's see what happens.
What's taking him so long?
The kid's underwater.
Maybe he's drowning. Look at the bubbles.
Pause. Maybe he's drowning.
Is that what he said?
Did my grandmother write this? All right. Let's continue.
I thought it was the keys. That's Mr. Elliott's lighter.
Didn't you see that there was keys?
They're swimming around in the fog down there. All right, come on. I'll figure out a way to get the keys. You go get dressed. You know, Claire, maybe you should have the pool drained.
What? I'll have it drained. That's what I'll do. All right, I'll have it drained.
Yeah, so the pool is drained. Michael's body has apparently disappeared.
Yeah, it's not in the pool.
So Tommy Lee immediately has this brand of pool installed in his yard.
So William Shatner, too, I believe.
So sparing you the details, a lot happens here to suggest that although we don't see him, Michael's body isn't merely missing. Michael is very much alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say this is about an hour in where we are now. This is a 90-minute movie. And at this point, I realized, I get the gimmick. I know what's going on here. So.
Oh, you figured it out?
Yeah, it was a little bit disappointing to get it that early, because it's kind of like a mystery type of thing,
Yeah.
So I always enjoy not getting it until the end, Some people like to figure out a mystery because they think it gives them a sense of accomplishment. But I like the surprise of it.
Well, so. I'm now ashamed to say that I was surprised.
Oh, okay.
And I even saw this movie was remade again. And we're going to talk about that later. I saw it in the theater, and I was surprised at the ending of this one.
Oh, boy. Well, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice.
So, sparing you the details, as I said, as sure as Claire is that she killed Michael, a student spots him.
By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think I just mangled that saying. Didn't I say fool me once, shame on me?
Oh, possibly.
Which is not what it is. I sound like George Bush.
George Bush said?
George Bush, yeah. But by the way, I have a theory on that, if you don't mind me continuing to interrupt you. So what happened with George Bush? This is George Bush Jr.
Now, we should say he was making a speech or he was responding to a question. He said, fool me once, shame on me.
Fool me twice.
Won't get fooled again.
You won't fool me again.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he said won't get fooled again, like the Who song.
Yeah. But he paused before saying that, and everyone assumed he forgot what the second part of it is, and that's why he paused and then mangled it. My theory, and I could be wrong, obviously, but I believe he paused because he realized I don't want to be on camera saying shame on me because I got to run for an election next year, and my opponent is going to take a clip of me saying shame on me and run commercials nonstop. So I think George Bush may not have been a good president, but he was a good campaigner. And I believe that was...
And that was just being politically savvy.
Yes.
I see.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
So, Michael also appears in a class photograph.
Oh, Michael is Jack McCoy?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
He's in the window, but he can be spotted. When they take the class photograph, he appears in a window.
Oh, really? Yes. I totally missed this part.
Well, that might have been when your internet was out.
Oh.
But, that happens, and his personal effects start appearing around the school.
Yeah.
This psychologically torments Claire, his wife, who becomes bedridden as a result of stress. So a sympathetic Lance Kerwin pays her a visit.
Oh, boy.
Let's see.
Sorry, I didn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Just brought you some flowers.
Yeah, well, Steve, you can leave out of here. To him, it makes as much sense to put flowers in a bed as it does to put them in a vase. So that's why he's doing this.
The same effect.
Right.
Okay, now, this is the point where we should probably say, if you have any interest in watching this film for yourself, we recommend you do that first before watching the rest of this episode. So we'll give you a moment.
Yeah, and before we should say, I think I'm going to give this a positive review. I'll just say that much. So if you're
I am as well.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about watching it, we would recommend it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding? They went 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. Were we watching the wrong clip there?
No, we're fine. That's the rest of the clip we were watching.
Yeah.
So we want to move on to the next one because, this is the twist. Twist number 1.
Yeah.
And then we twist again like we did last summer.
Okay, great.
Okay, here we go. She's having high anxiety.
She also has heart problems.
Yes. Hello, I'm Pee Wee Cash.
Those are her heart medication pills.
Yeah, she didn't make it to those.
Yeah. Man, I gotta say, that looks rough, man. I've never had contact lenses. Have you?
No.
I can't see doing that, man.
Yeah. It seems seems like a brutal daily ritual.
Yeah. Although my ex-wife used to leave them in for like a month at a time.
You're not supposed to do that.
No, you're not. And
now, would she be able to see at the end of the month?
Yeah,
there must have been a point where it would become.
Yeah, I guess it just got painful after a while, and she would take them out and replace them. But she eventually got LASIK, and now she has perfect vision now.
Well, good for her.
Are we seeing the last clip here? Or?
It looks that way. Let's pause. Oh, I see it. That's the preview. We're watching the preview, not the program.
Got it.
So that was the plan all along. But there's more to the plan.
Fake his death.
Now we're going to see the whole point of this plan.
Okay.
Finished?
Finally.
Was she tough? Oh, you're sopping wet. You're gonna catch your death of cold.
Yeah, so what they wanted to do was to make Claire think she killed Michael, gaslighting her, and then scaring her to death.
Yep.
That seems like a long way to go, doesn't it?
Well, I think you need an elaborate plan to get away with murder, you know?
But if she has a heart condition, let's say she was afraid of heights or something like that, you can put her in a position. I mean, I'm not recommending this, but where she'd be.
But then you're leaving it up to chance.
Well, I think this is left up to chance.
Well, you're right. This is leaving up to chance as well, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it makes for...
The idea was giving her heart something that it couldn't handle.
Yeah. But I mean, from a movie standpoint, the reveal is pretty cool where he climbs out of the toilet and pops the fake eyes out.
Yeah,
it was good.
The bathtub. But how long was he in there? He had to hide in there and not make any noise. How did he not drown? How did they not accidentally drown him as they were holding him under that water?
Yeah.
Under the weight of the garden gnome.
Right. Yeah, he obviously can hold his breath for an extraordinarily long amount of time, which is odd because, as we heard, he hates water. So how did he develop this skill other than spending a lot of time in the water?
$3 million. That's how he developed the skill.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on some David Blaine malarkey. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or this whole thing is very far-fetched. Well, this film was made again for cinemas in 1996, and as I mentioned earlier, it was called Diabolique.
Yeah.
Simply Diabolique. It had Sharon Stone and Isabella Gianni. Now, I think they dropped the ball. Jim, I have a photograph of what I think the dream cast could have been for this, and should have been. It should have starred Dorothy Hamill and Mia Farrow.
Well, I think it did.
It looks like it did, but yeah.
Yeah, Tuesday Weld was, if I read it correctly, she was the first one offered the part in Rosemary's Baby that Mia Farrow got. So, yeah, their careers ran similar paths, I guess. But yeah, there's another twist to the movie though. Like we're done watching clips, right?
Oh yes. Go ahead.
But there is another twist, which is they go out and I guess they talk to Lance Kerwin again, and he mentions having seen
Claire,
Claire, around the school.
Yeah,
which is what they were trying to freak Claire out with by telling the kids saying we've seen him around the school.
So it ends with uncertainty as to whether or not she actually died.
Right, but we saw him take her pulse.
We saw we saw the funeral.
Right,
we saw the casket being loaded into a hearse.
Yeah, it's not the same as when we saw him die.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, because you brought up the remake and the novel. Did they throw that into just this version, or is that in other versions as well?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Shall we do the YouTube comment?
Oh, please. I love these.
Here's someone who has information about the production. This is from simply Thomas.
Okay.
I was in the movie as one of the students. They cut me out on the YouTube version. Now, this is us back live. The YouTube version seemed to be taken from a VHS that was released in the 80s. This movie was released on home video.
Okay.
So I don't think the person who uploaded this on YouTube purposely spited this guy.
Right. It would have been the people who made the home video version.
Right.
Would have done some edits.
Yeah. So Thomas says, I was on the bus at the end and cheering during the game in the beginning. Not fair. My one claim to fame. We were paid $15 a day for 3 days. The filming was on the waterfront in Woodway, Washington, north of Seattle. I met some of the actors. The child actor was an ass.
Oh, boy.
Tuesday Weld was nice. Now, we should remind the folks again, I guess the child actor he's referring to is Lance Kerwin.
You would think so, yeah.
Yeah, and he would years later plead guilty to benefits fraud.
Oh, that's right. I forgot all about that.
So, he's just not a good dude, Lance Kerwin.
Yeah. How about that?
So, anything else you want to say about it before we rate it?
No, I don't think so.
Do you want to go first?
As I said, I'm going to give it a positive review. I'm actually, I think, going to give it the most positive review I've ever given. We're tied for it. I believe I gave four Meredith Baxters to Law & Order 1976.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to give 4 to this as well. And the comment I made about Law & Order 1976 was it seemed like it could have been a theatrical release, and I felt the same way about this.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't think any of the other things we watched I've felt that strongly about.
Well, I'm giving the same rating, 4 out of 5 Meredith Baxters. I quite like it. For some idiotic reason, I did not anticipate the twist at the end, especially having seen the subsequent remake. But it was well played by all involved.
Yeah, the acting was good.
Is there anything you'd like to talk about we didn't talk about?
We've talked about a lot. I feel like this show was a little bit long, so.
Okay. Well, in that case, did we do it?
I think we did it.
I think we did it. Hey, for Chris Morgani, Jim Corhan, I'm Steve Rees. Husky Wawa.
Husky Wawa.
Ollie Maganal.
Tigers.
Edom Rawl, we did it.